Waste Management has 45,000 employees. About half of those people are now working from home, but the other half remain on the front lines collecting garbage. The company said that it's guaranteeing up to 40 hours of pay per week for employees for the duration of the pandemic. Joining us right now on the phone is Jim Fish. He's Waste Management's president and CEO. And Jim, thanks for being with us today.
You bet. Good morning, Becky.
You know, I was thinking about you the other day when I was sitting at home realizing that we'd be in big trouble if the garbage wasn't being picked up around here, considering that we're all at home all the time and probably generating a lot more waste at home than we had been in the past. What's it meant for your company to this point? How are you all dealing with this pandemic?
Well, I mean, just like virtually every company out there, everything changed overnight. So we've moved 20,000 people to a work-from-home environment. Those folks that are not required to be in the office have moved to work from home. And then secondly, as we think about the health and safety of everyone, we've also been closely following CDC and WHO protocols for those frontline folks who are those people who are picking up that trash, just to make sure that they're not at a heightened risk of contracting the virus. We've been putting some super strong protocols in place for social distancing. I've been out to some of our sites and have observed those, regularly cleaning those surfaces, including trucks that are touched frequently, hand cleaning. I think we've literally bought thousands of gallons of hand sanitizer. So from a health and safety standpoint, it's changed everything. And then, as you mentioned, our business has shifted a bit from commercial and our industrial business over to residential. So we are seeing some shift there in volumes.
What's that mean overall in terms of the residential stuff going up, obviously, but commercial going down pretty extensively? I would guess that overall your volume is down.
Yeah, I mean, we're still, it's TBD at this point to see exactly what the impact of this is on us. We do know that with small businesses and big businesses really kind of shutting down overnight, we are seeing that commercial business, that industrial business come down, and residential is not necessarily going up in terms of the number of units. I mean, there aren't any more homes out there. It's just that the weight of each container has gone up. So it's a bit of an interesting shift where you're seeing units coming down in one area and weights going up in another.
Jim, for those employees who are on the front lines, the people who are picking up garbage curbside, do you have masks for them to wear? Or are you doing temperature checks when they come in? This whole thing seems to be changing pretty rapidly and moving pretty quickly, just in terms of the guidance that's being issued from CDC as well.
Yeah, so we have been following very closely what CDC, WHO, OSHA have been saying on the topic. They have said that waste handling is not a pathway to the disease. So over and above those standard protocols that we have for handling waste or recycling, we've put into place the use of personal protective equipment. Depending on where you are, certainly masks are part of that, and then of course gloves, which protect you. We've also talked to our folks a lot about, even if you're wearing gloves, if you didn't turn around and touch your face with those gloves, then you expose yourself. So we've put out our own list of procedures to make sure that folks do not expose themselves. I think the biggest risk, honestly, for us is less about the handling of the waste and more about those social distancing policies at our sites. We're just social people, and so when all of our drivers, for example, come in the morning, they tend to congregate, and it's what I saw last week when I was at one of our big sites here in Houston. They'll congregate around the coffee machine, or they'll congregate around where they check in. So we've really had to separate them, and that's been difficult for them just because of the social nature of our folks.
Jim, how many of your markets are still kind of open for business? How many are shut down, and how many are hotspots that we talk about every day?
Well, they're all open for business because we've been designated as a vital service. So all of our markets are open for business.
I'm sorry. I mean, how many of the states that you're serving right now have stay-at-home orders? How many of your markets are still fairly open? And then I guess how many of the markets that you're serving are active hotspots?
Okay. Well, I don't have an exact number for that, but we are predominantly, we're not exclusively, we do have some rural areas, but we're predominantly an urban company. So to the extent that most urban areas are now kind of in these stay-at-home orders, then I would say that most of our areas are in some type of shutdown ordinance. Obviously, the small rural areas are not, and we do service a number of those, but a lot of our big operations are in big urban areas like Los Angeles, like Chicago, like Houston, New York area.
Jim, I want to thank you for your time today, and thank you for what you and your team members are doing right now. I'm grateful to have them working and doing these things, and I really appreciate everything you guys are doing.
You bet. Thanks so much, Becky.